Hey everybody, welcome back to Videogames. So here we're continuing series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project, and this has been the week of making videos I didn't expect I'd have to make. I made a new Sega Saturn video because a new core dropped, and then SRG320 decided to do another mic drop and just release a Battletoads Arcade core. He hasn't updated in a few months, but he decides in the same week to drop 2 cores, and that is incredible. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe. That notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you've never played Battletoads Arcade, it is an absolutely awesome game, but it is absolutely also hard as nails. But seeing it run on MiSTer FPGA is incredible because this board basically got used for nothing. This is a one-off game. It's not like a lot of other things are going to come from having this core available. But this is an awesome arcade experience, and it is a very rare and hard game to find. So having it available on MiSTer is going to be incredible. Now, fair warning, this is definitely alpha, and there's going to be a lot of graphical glitches in the game. But I love talking about how the sausage gets made, and as a filmmaker, the iterative process looking at drafts and different cuts is more fun than the finished product to me, so that's what I like showing off. Now, I know everyone's going to ask how to get this running on their MiSTer. I'm going to show you right now. On the root directory of your SD card, you need to make a folder called Battletoads. All one word, write it exactly as you see here. This is set up completely different than any other example I've given you before. You're going to grab the files for Battletoads, btoads.zip. It's going to be the standard MAME ROM, and you're going to see here that there are 3 different files within that zipped file when you unload it. You need these 3 right here, BTC000, and with the different acronyms, and you need to rename each one to .bin. Windows will give you an option if you want to do it or not. It'll say it could cause problems. Trust me, it's exactly what you need to do. Now that we have all 3 of the files in that .bin format, we're going to go back over to the Battletoads folder and we're going to paste them in there. And this is what we need to run the game as far as the game itself is concerned. Now, the best luck I had is I just copied the arcade core right over to the root directory of MiSTer as well, and that is how I got it running. Other people have done it other ways, but this is what worked best in my experience. If you follow that tutorial, you're going to get all of the files you need onto your MiSTer. But we're not done yet. Again, this works in a completely different way than anything else. Service button needs to be yes, and then you're going to go ahead and define your controls like you would for any other core. But then you're going to go back to the main menu, and you're going to load in those files we renamed one at a time. If you put that Battletoads folder in the root directory of your MiSTer installation, it's going to auto-target them right there. Just go down the list and load in those files we copied over. Once you finish the 3rd one, the game is just going to boot directly into that attract mode, and you're going to be playing Battletoads Arcade on your MiSTer. And the first level at least looks spectacular. There are a few issues with sprite layering and maybe some of the art priorities. It seems like sometimes enemies are hovering over the sky. But again, this is an alpha core and this is in no way, shape, or form a review. SRG320 getting this done, let alone getting the Saturn core done in the same week, is spectacular. And given his current situation, it's even more impressive than that. And I do like talking about things that are work in progress because I love seeing how these cores evolve and develop over time. And at least for the first level, this is like 99.5 exactly what you'd expect out of Battletoads until your character jumps out of the screen. Now once we get to level 2, you're going to see the grotto entrance and those Christmas trees, so do remember Battletoads is a Christmas game and you 100% should play it at Christmas. But mechanically, play-wise, and sound, I would say this is working almost exactly as you would expect. It's just a few issues with the graphics, and it seems like sprite priority and layering. But the fun thing is that pretty much every in-development core on MiSTer that is 2D based, you see that same thing. It seems like in the work process, getting all of the graphical layers aligned correctly is one of the later things that comes. And even dealing with Hyper Neo Geo on a MAME, I've sent some original captures to the MAME developers, and even they are still patching up some of these sprite and background priorities. So it just seems to be part and parcel of how these things get done. But it kind of looks fun here with all of this mirror imaging. It's like pointing a camera at a television that shows the camera screen. It's a real old thing that we used to do back in the day just to make fun effects, but you still can do it today. But the sound, like I said, is about 95% of the way there to my ear, so go ahead and listen for like 40 seconds or so, and I'll come back and talk more about Battletoads and the development process. But enjoy! It sounds really, really good, and it sounds what I would expect out of Battletoads, and I love this boss here, how those sprites scale into the screen. This is one where I was playing around with pre-rendered 3D a la Donkey Kong era. And I do love all the violence that comes with Battletoads, so you'd never see this on a Nintendo console, but you can decapitate enemies, and once you decapitate that snake there, he just wriggles around in his death throes, shooting blood absolutely everywhere. And some things too here, like the Dark Queen, are a lot more you-know-what than on the NES. They definitely pushed a little bit harder because arcades didn't have the same censorship. And now we have that same decapitation and blood on MiSTer, and at least to me, it's not that odd or strange that SRG320 would be doing this at the same time as he's working on Saturn, because most developers, and myself as a filmmaker, projects can get a little bit tunnel vision, and sometimes working on something different refreshes your creativity when you're working on your main project. So I'm sure just getting Battletoads running seems like he loves the game, wanted to see it on MiSTer, and it allows people to step away from the thing they've been working on for months and then come back fresh, or at least that's how I work in my artistic practice. Obviously not an FPGA core developer, but it does seem like a good way to work. And you'll see there the Dark Queen in the background, something you're not going to see on NES. But the game itself is really, really fun. I will say that it's cheap as all hell though. It's definitely out to steal your quarters. It's going to take you around back and beat you for your lunch money. But of course on MiSTer we're not throwing in quarters, so it doesn't matter as much. And I love the character designs here. We've already knocked the arms off this giant rat robot, and I love as you get him into a halfway beaten stage, it is just a standard scrub enemy rat in a robot, and you break him down so much that he's literally hopping around on the one remaining foot on that mech until you beat him. This game has a ton of personality, a big sense of humor, and it does feel like an enhanced version of what came before, because we're going to get a lot of the same sort of levels going down here into this tunnel on a jetpack before you would have been swinging from a rope, but it's just the Battletoads you know and love. It just looks a little prettier, it's definitely a lot harder, and it is way more violent. These eyeballs here just getting punched out of existence, and all of that gore shooting around the screen looks incredible. But again, you will see that there are going to be some graphical glitches, and I'm sure this core will be updated in due time. This is just fun to talk about because I love seeing things being in development, and I know a lot of you guys too. If you want to test it, you know how, but this is one of those things I think probably 95% of you will probably just watch this video, get excited, and wait for it to end up on Update All. But leave me a comment down below. How many of you are testing work in progress cores on MiSTer? And how many of you are just watching videos of me test work in progress cores on MiSTer until they're ready? Because I would be really curious who else out there is checking these things out that I don't know about. But of course, being arcade hardware, this thing can just throw sprites all over the place, and it's so much fun to see it in action. But I'm going to give you one more taste of the soundtrack because it is quite good, but I'll be back in like 30 seconds and we'll talk more about the game. I left it a little bit quieter there so you could hear that the sound effects are slightly muffled, but I have played an original board before, and those sound effects could sound a little hollow as well, and a lot of boards back in the day just didn't have the sharpest sound effects going on, but that's fine, it sounds good here. What's working is the gameplay is exactly as you would expect. You can finish the game and you can get a Battletoads Arcade experience. Obviously some of these sprite and background layer priorities and glitches need to be buttoned up, but this is obviously just a very first pass at the core, and I'm sure that will happen. And you can definitely tell this is a passion project, because unlike some other arcade boards where if you get one game running you're going to get 9 in rapid succession, this is basically a one-off game for MiSTer, and that's what it's so good at. But I'm curious, who played Battletoads Arcade back in the day, and do you plan on playing it now that you know it's on MiSTer FPGA? Leave me that comment down below. But I will be back next Thursday with more MiSTer videos. I'll have videos for the week as well, but if you really want to test the alpha core for Battletoads, you can do it today. Sure that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.